Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's have a chat about Shakur Stevenson and Edwin de los Santos, because they will be meeting for the WBC World Lightweight title, which is vacant. And before we go any further, let me emphasise to you, mark it in your diaries as Thursday, the 16th of November. Thursday. This is a very rare Thursday card, but one that's worth watching because you've got Emmanuel Navarrete and Robinson Conceição. That's also going to be on the card. But it's the 16th, which is a Thursday of November, okay? Right, what do we think of Stevenson versus de los Santos? Okay, Shakur Stevenson, I'm sure you know plenty about him already. You've seen him fight many times before if you're a boxing fan. Supremely talented guy, really, made a believer out of me over the last 18 months, certainly. I always thought, okay, well, the jury's out, yeah, the kid's got talent, but yeah, he's gone out and proved it. I mean, from Jamel Herring onwards, first of all, I should point out, he won a belt at featherweight, and then he moved up, he beat Jamel Herring at super feather, he stopped him in 10 rounds, he then really announced his arrival by widely outpointing Oscar Valdez, who we know is a very game tough competitor. Then he beat Robinson Conceição over 12, and then he absolutely smashed to pieces Shuichiro Yoshino. I think Shuichiro. These fucking names get me, man. Shuichiro Yoshino. Thank you. That's how you pronounce it. See, I got there in the end. Come on. Anyway. He took him on, and Yoshino was undefeated with 16 wins, no draws, no defeats. And, I mean, Christ almighty, Shakur Stevenson just smashed him to bits, 6 rounds. Great performance. But, so the guy this young kid, he's 26 now, so he's coming into his prime, physical prime, getting his man strength and so on. Definitely someone who can either box your head off if he needs to, which was the case with Oscar Valdez, or he can box, and then turn on the heat when he feels he's got you going, which is what he did with Jamel Herring. Or, as was the case against Shuichiro Yoshino, I'm determined to get that second nature, that name. Anyway, he can turn it on and smash it to bits, which is what he did, 6 rounds. I mean, and the kid was undefeated, Yoshino. Conceição only had 1 defeat at the time. Oscar Valdez was undefeated in 30. I mean, Shakur Stevenson is, let's be honest here, at the very least a top 10 pound for pounder, at the very least, probably top 6, 7, 8, 6, 7 maybe, offhand. Anyway, clearly the favourite in this fight, but this will be his 3rd belt if he picks it up in a 3rd division, all right? So who's he in against? Well, initially he was meant to be in against Frank Martin, PBC fighter. And Martin himself, as a prospect, has looked pretty good. But if he was to face Stevenson, you'd have to pick Stevenson as a red hot favourite. Martin would be the type of guy who'd give him rounds. But when they first announced that fight, I thought, this has got Stevenson written all over it. He's going to smash Martin to bits. It'll probably take about 8 rounds to do it, but he'll knock him out. And then, of course, perhaps not surprisingly, PBC pulled Martin out of the fight. They want to protect their interests, as is so often the case. They're only willing to face the absolute best when it's cash out time, and they avoided. It was a swerve. There's no doubt about it. It was a swerve on behalf of PBC. They took Martin out. And as soon as that was announced, Edwin dos Santos said, well, I'll do it. I'll come in. Now, dos Santos is a heavy hitter, 16 wins with 14 KOs. He's got 1 defeat on his record, which is an 8-round split decision loss to William Foster III, who at the weekend lost his unbeaten record, but is still a very talented fighter. And I think that was down at super feather, because de los Santos has sort of flitted between lightweight and super feather. He's sort of, almost as if he can't make up his mind where he wants to be. He finally settled on lightweight. He's 24 years old, which is obviously not young at all. I mean, 2 years younger than Shakur Stevenson. But he wanted this fight. He was like, yeah, I'll take it, no problem, and the deal got done very, very quickly. which really shows a kid with some hunger. I'm always impressed when people are prepared to take on the best. I mean, taking on William Foster III in an 8-rounder was a big gamble. It didn't quite come off. Lost a split decision, but I bet he's a better fighter for that sort of thing. And he beat Luis Acosta, a second round stoppage. Acosta was 12-0 at the time, undefeated. He also beat Jose Valenzuela, knocked him out in 3 rounds. Valenzuela was undefeated. This guy takes on good opponents. He's only 24. I mean, this is an impressive attitude to have, and he's got some very, very good wins. He's from the Dominican Republic. He's the same height as Shakur Stevenson, 5'8", and like I say, he's a banger. He has been 10 rounds. His last fight was against Joseph Adorno, and he went 10 rounds, won a unanimous decision, which was very wide. I think Adorno only won one or 2 rounds at the very most. But yeah, that was his last fight. But he does lack rounds. I think that's the only occasion he's been 10. The rest of the time, it's early knockouts and the odd 8-rounder, 6-rounder here. I mean, he really hasn't gone many rounds at all, which always, I think, there is no substitute for experience. And Stevenson, as we know, has done the rounds. He had the back-to-back 12-rounders with Conceição and Oscar Valdez. They were both in 2022, so that's 24 rounds in 2022 alone. Did 10 with Herring, Jeremiah Nakatalia. He went 12 rounds with him and outpointed him. Stevenson has got the 12-round distance down pat, no doubt about it. And like I say, at 26, he's coming into his own. So, who do we think is going to win? Well, first of all, Stevenson's a southpaw, and De Los Santos is the south. I think they're both southpaws, aren't they? Yeah, De Los Santos is southpaw. So they're both southpaws. I think that what will happen is De Los Santos will start quick. And because he's got heavy hands, Stevenson will have a look at him. Stevenson is so confident, such a confident fighter. He'll probably be a little bit, ever so slightly conservative, to start with. Just have a look at Dos Santos, see what he's got to offer, try and have a look at his rhythm. What does he want to do, Dos Santos? He might, Dos Santos might even be level after 4, maybe, or maybe after 5. He might even be around ahead. I think once Stevenson starts to get his engine running, and starts to see what Dos Santos is all about, maybe sample a bit of the power, take a few punches on the gloves, and see what the jab's like, whether he's going to work to the body or whatever. Then Stevenson will go to work. I think after about 3 or 4 rounds, and he will start to. He never tries to knock people out, Stevenson, but he does try and hurt you. And if he does get you hurt, he'll turn the heat up. He'll go through the gears pretty damn quick. So I see him from rounds 4 or 5 onwards, beginning, like I say, to go through the gears, start, like I say, they're both southpaws, so bringing the backhand into play more often, out-jabbing Dos Santos, pushing him back, and I don't think Dos Santos is going to like that at all. I don't think he can really fight that well on the back foot. He's used to going forward. I think that Dos Santos is going to have the 36 minutes, the 12 rounds in his head. He's going to be thinking, what can I do? How can I do this? Can I do it? You're going to, unless you've done it. I mean, again, the old cliche, there's no substitute for experience. Unless you've done it, you don't know you can do it. You think you know you can do it. So I think he'll be pushed back. And once it becomes apparent that, he can't hurt Stevenson, or he's going to find it very difficult, he might start relying on just looking for one punch. I think Stevenson, that's going to play right into Stevenson's hands. I think Stevenson will continue to box, but like I say, go through the gears, start bringing the backhand into play more, work the body. He'll bank to the body as well. Stevenson has got every punch in the book, and he fires them all with precision. And I think he's going to bust up Dos Santos probably from around 7, 8, 9. He'll start to turn the heat up big time. Dos Santos is going to be lagging and sagging a bit, low on energy. I think he's going to start to get a bit desperate. He knows he's behind. He can't outbox Shakur. He's not as fast as Shakur. I think Shakur will really turn the heat up in rounds 9, 10, 11, and will probably get a late stoppage in one of those rounds, 9, 10, 11, I think. And Dos Santos may well be a better fighter for this fight. Again, just hasn't done the rounds. He just hasn't done the rounds, and I hate seeing that. That's always a big red flag when I see a guy just doesn't have the experience. You can have all these knockouts on your record against B minus, C plus, B minus fighters, but it's no substitute for experience. I'm going to keep saying that old cliche because it happens to be true. So I see Shakur Stevenson winning his third belt, WBC lightweight belt, with a stoppage. Like I say, rounds 9. Last third of the fight, a stoppage. And Dos Santos will have to go away. He's 24. He can go away and regroup and learn from his mistakes. Come back with a few 10-rounders. And Shakur is onwards and upwards. He's tremendous talent, brilliant fighter. So yeah, Shakur Stevenson to win by stoppage in the last third of the fight. What's your opinion? How do you see it going? Let me know. Comments below, of course. And if you could subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, that's much appreciated. And spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. I always appreciate your time. Looking forward to reading your comments. And bye-bye for now.